And welcome back. We are live with a emergency Mecca of Banter podcast. Boys, before we get started, we have to cheers.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, boys.
Gents.
Super League is no more.
And one more for the boy Hoove.
Howdy.
Come on.
Lads.
I was just about to say, this is Andy Hoover, everyone. He is sitting in for our boy, Ryan Butchart, who is currently, as you guys know, he is the assistant coach for the Lafayette women's high school team. So he has a playoff game tonight. And with all of the drama going around in the soccer world, we thought we needed to do an emergency podcast. So our fellow Mecca of Banter member, Andy Hoover, is
Welcome,
here.
lad. Welcome.
Let's get it.
Let's
Cheers.
get it.
First cash, boys. First
go.
cash.
Yes. So, Hoove, if you want to give the fans a little lowdown on who you support,
Gents,
your
yeah.
little soccer background you got going.
How'd you fall into the Mecca?
Oh.
Dude, I got added one day, and just because I would blow up JP and Jacob's phone, I'd blow them up like with just soccer stuff all the time. And like
Talking sense.
yeah, just trashing. And I got thrown in this group chat, and I was like, oh, there's people that do this. I'm not the only one that's weird. No.
You found your brotherhood.
I found the squad. Yeah, first off, I appreciate it, gents, for the invite. Truly
Always.
honored.
Absolutely, bro.
Avid fan.
Honored to have you.
Avid participant. I always speak my mind.
Comment section.
Yeah, I'm always in the comment section. Tottenham fan from early 2010s. I'm
Sorry, brother.
Sorry,
brother.
we always cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers to shitty ass Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Before you even go any further, how the fuck are you going to make a Super League and add Tottenham in your fucking Super League? What the fuck
I'm
is
telling
this?
you, Daniel Levy got that letter, and there was an extra zero at the end of that balance, and he was like, I don't see why I would. What do you mean? The dude's the first to sell out to anything.
3.5 billion? Sure, I'll sign up.
Hasn't been able to sell the naming rights of like a $1.4 billion stadium just because no one's giving him the dollar sign that he wants.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Dude, yeah. There's plenty to go around on everybody right now, though. So,
Couldn't agree more.
yeah, 2012, I don't know. Clint Dempsey kind of set it off for me, I think. I'd always watched the Prem, but then he started playing with this guy, Gareth Bale, and they were kind of running some magic for Tottenham for
Time ago.
2011
Talk
and 12
about
was
some
wild.
matches to watch.
So you just,
Yeah.
from there on, fell
From
in love.
there, I had to pick it up. I had to pick a team. You can't just
Of course.
cruise through your life as you know.
Hey, trust me, I know all too well. I know all too well. Hey, I picked the
respect
squad. I don't know how well it's going so far as of late, but
Yeah.
I have a squad. So, Hoove is the Spurs guy. We all feel bad for him, but we're happy to have him here. Once again, Andy Hoover.
Thanks,
Cheers,
boys. Appreciate it.
Okay, so a lot of shit has happened in the last couple of days. And
Break it down for us.
we're here to talk about it. How I kind of wanted to start this podcast off is for the listeners out there who don't know much about what has been going on with this whole Super League, I kind of wanted to give you a brief explanation of kind of what it was, why people are such an uproar about it, and kind of the overarching view of what it is. I'm not going to go into crazy detail because majority of the people listening will know what's going on, but I still want to get our entire audience involved as well. So basically, the way that I'm going to go really dumb, by the way, guys. So if you want to intervene or add anything, you can, but I think it's needed to get the whole picture of everything. So the way that if we regard the MLS, people might know the MLS. If we look at world football as a whole, how it's kind of set up is in each country has its own league. And clubs play in these leagues, and in those leagues, they have this thing called relegation and promotion within those leagues. So each country has multiple leagues, one being at the top, which in England's case, I'll use as an example, is the Premier League. And then under the Premier League, you have the Championship, and you have leagues underneath that go.
Grassroots football.
Grassroots football, exactly. So the premise of it is when you play in your league, in your nation, if you're one of the better clubs and you're not in the highest league, you move up whatever league you are in. And if you are one of the worst clubs of the league in that year, you get relegated down to a lower league. When this happened,
bottom 3 in the Prem.
Yes, bottom 3 in the Prem. I wasn't gonna. Once again, I didn't want to go into specifics. Was just kind of brush over it real quickly. But that is what it is like in the all the countries around the world that have these leagues. Is that's kind of how it's set up. Now, besides the league, another thing that they play in are league cups and also the Europa League and the Champions League. So how that is determined is, once again, once you're at the top of the top in your league, in your country, some leagues allow teams. It can be 3 teams, it could be 2 teams. It kind of depends on where your level is on your league of how many people can go and play in these UEFA leagues called Champions League and Europa League, where the best of the best play, and we kind of find out who is the best from which league.
It's competitive, and these leagues, like, obviously not every team can make a title push and win the Premier League, win La Liga, but
The hope's always there.
hope's always there. And at the back end, if you're having a great season and you're in 6th place, since there's no playoffs in soccer like there are in American sports, your aim is 4th place. Your aim is 4th place to try and get into these tournaments to grow your financial state,
Exactly.
and then you can build on your team. So,
And if you're one of those like lower level clubs and you finish 6th, then it's like the best finish you've ever had in Europe.
Yeah,
You go
absolutely.
into this competition that immediately ranks you against. You know, huge
Exactly.
deal.
So
Yes.
yeah, something.
Clubs like Leicester winning the league, going to play away at Barcelona, getting to
Exactly.
play your Bayern Munich's, getting to play at. And the part of it is those fans traveling to those stadiums, getting to see their team play in Camp Nou,
just growing.
at the Allianz
Leicester
Arena.
City.
So basically, one of the main points I kind of want to nail in is the leagues now, as they are, the Champions League and the Europa League. You are you enter those leagues by playing well. You're not just automatically selected. There's not a set group of people. It's if you perform well in your league and you're in the top of your league, you are then into the Champions League. So the next thing I also wanted to just mention is international football. So players not only play for a club, they also play for international football, which is where they are a citizen of, and that is the only team they can play for. I just wanted to put that out there for some people, because some people get the World Cup and the Champions League and all that stuff mixed up. They're completely different entities. Another thing I wanted to bring up is all these leagues and all these tournaments and all the stuff we are talking about are all different entities of their own. So what I'm trying to say here is the Premier League is its own organization. The Champions League and UEFA is its own organization. And then
Governing body.
Exactly.
That's the best way to describe it.
Correct. That's a better way of describing it.
FIFA is its own.
They make their own money.
Yeah.
They have their own employees. They are. It's not just a title, is what I was trying to get at. So basically, now that we have groundwork on a little background on what it is, the situation currently is or currently was, when the Super League was presented, basically what it was all of the
Top
to
teams in the
be
world.
blunt,
Yeah,
the richest clubs in the world created a league where they automatically, no matter what, were in this league.
How many teams?
There's 12 listed. They wanted to get to 15. And of those set 15 teams would always be in this Super League. They would never not make it in. No matter how bad they were playing, no matter what was going on, they were always in.
And the concept is
Then-
to replace the Champions League.
Yes, this whole concept was to replace the Champions League.
Midweek games.
It would be a midweek game, and the play-in part is there would be 20 teams in total, and they would have 5 play-in teams who would then play against the other set 15, and it was supposed to be they're playing the best teams of the world.
Just for some perspective, too, there were 12 teams that had agreed, and there were 3 teams that had agreed behind closed doors that hadn't announced
I
their
had signed a
identity.
contract.
Yeah, so they had signed the contract, but somehow had like an NDA to protect their identity, which just kind of shows you what the perception of the situation is, to the point where, go on. Let's
Yeah,
get
no,
to
no.
that
No,
later.
it's great content. It's
No,
important, though. It's
yeah.
definitely important.
Definitely important. Yeah. So, trying to remember where I was at. So the Super League was already set 12 clubs pretty much announced this on a whim. There was really no hint or nothing before this that gave us the clue that this was ever happening. And we then find out that this was mainly run by owners. So basically, and once again, I'm going to be very blunt this entire episode because it's definitely hit a chord with me that I'm not happy about. Pretty much they wanted money. At the end of the day, these owners were sick and tired of UEFA making a very nice penny. And that's another thing I kind of wanted to mention before we get even any deeper in is UEFA by no means is a good organization. They are one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, and I hope that this is a kick in their ass to show them that
football in general is the most corrupt sport in the entire world.
completely
They
agree.
can't come out of here as the good guys.
No, absolutely not.
In my opinion, coming out of this, there's no. I mean, obviously, the football fans as a whole are the winners, but when you look at governing bodies, FIFA, UEFA, all the owners, there's not a single winner. They're all losers in my book because all it did was point to a bigger problem.
We definitely win as football fans. It's nice to see that like money didn't exactly like completely uproot this and win, but it's kind of just like money defended itself from money in a sense. But like I still think that we're the winners because it could have just went completely out the window,
Absolutely.
like it did with UEFA taking it from every game being broadcast for free on Fox and then basically selling those rights individually to Bleacher Reports. Like
that's why we're moving.
We definitely took a huge L on that, and like the way I thought sports were going in life as a fan is. Money's gonna win. You're gonna sit back and like it. You're gonna end up paying for each half of a game soon. Like,
Absolutely.
So it was definitely nice to take a huge dub.
I think even looking back into what Nick ended on the owners is like we were hearing all this stuff about these teams pulling out. Like the hours that were the most extreme were like when Arsenal tweeted, "We've pulled from the FA."
Yeah.
So like there was a little bit of time period where that was a very real issue. It was like these guys were pulling from their governing organizations to just supersede what was about to happen. That's what got scary,
To realize the importance or like the magnitude of what why they would want to leave. I'm pretty sure someone you mind checking this. Real Madrid made the same purse from the Champions League each year that they won it. Those 3 years.
I'm pretty sure it increased, but it's strictly based. Well, it all depends on what the TV rights are. It's like if the TV rights deals are is what they'll make, so that price is kind of almost set when you go into the season.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I thought like one of the I know they said it was just like completely undervalued, and they said that UEFA took like far too much money instead of like it was the Real Madrid felt they were owed like 3 or 4-fold what they were getting. I guess which is for sure true. Like UEFA is definitely taking way more money than they should be than the clubs deserve to be winning from that.
Absolutely.
And I think Real was able to tell probably by winning 3 in a row and being like, okay. Like we should see probably 2-3 times as much money because they're seeing the
increase over the years.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where I think it plays into the fact where it's like when you look at a club like Real, who, I mean, Florentino's going to sit there and act like he needs money. They're I think they were the richest club in the world until Barcelona just passed them.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they deserved more money from UEFA.
Oh, absolutely.
yes,
Probably
absolutely.
not by a little bit.
But
Probably
what's
like
funny?
like say they won 300 mil, they probably deserve like 500, like around like that ballpark. Just and I feel like no one could. I mean, I was kind of making this point before. I don't see how you uproot the system that UEFA has right now and how much of a power hold they have on everything without making a bold play like that.
Yeah,
the super clubs.
No, you're right. You're
But
right.
There was they kept bringing it up, and this guy on Sky Sports, I was telling you, I was literally just putting it in my veins for 48 hours.
All of
I was
us.
just-
I couldn't focus.
Preach it
was
to
just-
me,
I
who's
was refresh Twitter.
dude, drinking Sky Sports like straight from the
IV, right.
straight from the teat. And this guy was like, he brought some sense to me. He's like, look, there were UEFA Champions League reforms on the table. He's like, that there was a plan for them to go and check into these reforms, and then they just dropped this bomb. He's like, it's not going to happen. He was the first legitimate pundit who was just like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's a great bargaining chip.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it ended up kind of being that way.
I don't know I don't know about how much the financial breakdown is going to change from their new the new renovation they're doing to UEFA is to their plan. But we talked about their league breakdown, how they're basically stealing the UEFA, the Super League's format for having a mini season, so that the teams that are in group play, instead of having 3 giants in their group and then having one below them, putting them all in a season of 10, just saying you get to play the other 3 guys that are kind of weak too, and you'll still play everyone, so you just get the fair shot home and away instead of being paired into these random groups.
To me, it was one of those where it's you look at it, and I actually, to be honest, I kind of do like that. The proposed UEFA Champions League format, where it's but at the same time, why do you think that they're proposing 5 home games, 5 away games for a group to replace the group stage? It's more games,
More money.
it's more games televised.
Jurgen Klopp said it. He was like, it's more games, it's more games. It's always about more games.
Which is entertaining it from a fan standpoint, but it's coming from us who follows in dedicated football. We understand that it's it's an updated format, which the game might need, but without that trusting governing body that we can be like, okay, they're doing what's best for our game, not putting themselves first. It's why UEFA is not part of the Super League, but UEFA is just as corrupt as these owners, in my opinion.
That's,
100%.
that's just what people really need to understand.
I think you should go back into the owners too.
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
just to put a bow on kind of what I was describing, and just so all those listeners that I was talking about before understand pretty much what happened with the ending of this Super League is the fans, the players kind of had an uproar, and there was a lot of criticism over it, and it kind of pushed, I believe, the some of the clubs that were kind of on the fence and were in the dark because once again, I'll go back even more. A lot of these clubs came out. Now, is this 100% factual? I don't know. I believe the managers and I believe the players.
Yeah.
But most of the teams, I would say all of the teams, the managers and the players had no idea this was happening. They had zero idea that this league was being formed. So when it was announced and they finally had their say, the backlash was crazy. And pretty much teams started to pull out of the Super League. And in the last couple of hours, the Super League folded. It lasted 2 days, I think it was, or was it 3 days?
The one thing I want to
3
mention,
days total.
The clubs all signed a binding agreement too.
It was a mental.
Yes.
the one thing I want to
Oh,
mention
absolutely.
is since in my 26 years of life, I've been supporting United since what? I'm probably 5 years old.
Since I've known you.
You grow up, you learn what club supports or rivals who. I've never seen in a span of 2 days. I've never seen football fans rally around each other, and you can just see that it's one giant community. Because at the end of the day, it was like, obviously, like I'm embarrassed as a United fan that we would ever disrespect the fans that have grown up. And I'll get into United later, but my point was I've never seen the entire essentially world who loves the beautiful game fight back against something to where it was so apparent that the owners didn't have a choice but to make a choice.
And I think Gary Neville and Carragher deserve so much praise, and a lot of other legends. I feel like there's some that people aren't talking about. Petr Cech for Chelsea
in the streets.
Yes, he was in the streets, literally screaming at the Chelsea supporters. But I think I'll do another cheers. Because those guys and their push to get this taken care of was incredible, and I don't think it would have been done without them. So, cheers to those lads. So, at this table, we all know, the audience all knows who we all support. So, 3 of our 4 teams were a part of this Super League, and I kind of want to go into each of our teams. I don't know if Dobes, you want to start. I don't know if Hughes, you want to start. I don't know if Sean, you want to start, because I also want to get your side from a Southampton supporter looking in and seeing all of 6 of these clubs. Just for context, I'm going to list off the clubs that were a part of it, just so the people watching know. It was Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Spurs.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Who else? Who'd you forget? Arsenal.
No, and then Italy. It's AC Milan, Juve, Milan, and Inter Milan. So those are the clubs that we're a part of. And I don't know if Dobes or Hoove or any of you guys want to start off. Just kind of give your perspective.
What do you want? Just my perspective of
absolutely
of United's taking this.
Yeah.
First of all, I think the first thing I have to say is, for those of you who don't know, kind of the CEO, I guess the guy who's in charge of like operations at Man United, his name is Ed Woodward.
You a fan of Ed?
Good guy.
I was gonna say
good riddance. Our owners go by the name of the Glazers. As United fans, it's kind of been one of those things since they've taken over from the club. I believe Ed's been there since 2013. The Glazers before that. It's been unanimously to know that, and I think this is known. I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say that the Glazers have been to the club. United was wearing an alternate kit, and the Glazers had no idea what color Man United was wearing. So if that doesn't put in perspective for people just how much these people don't know about their club, then I don't know what else will. But from a player's perspective, it's one of those where it's like, on Sunday, United plays Burnley. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, well, if you guys know him as a United fan, it's like, I love the guy. I respect the hell out of him.
He's a definition of like why people love soccer.
Definition of United through and through. Absolute United legend. This Super League gets announced on Sunday. Ole's left to fend for himself, not knowing a single thing about what's going on with this Super League, to answer questions.
Absolutely.
And what I respect more than anything is that the players took exception to that. After the league got announced on Monday, Ed Woodward knew that he had to hold a meeting with the players. In that meeting, it said that, and I know I talk so much shit on him, he's a United legend in my opinion now.
Wow, love this.
Harry Maguire stepped up, not once but twice, said something to Ed Woodward that clearly must have worked. Bruno Fernandes is said to have said something more expressively, which
could have guessed that.
Portuguese, as you could expect.
Had to be.
Luke Shaw also stepped up. The next day, Tuesday comes around, Ed Woodward resigns.
So now I have a question for you. I've been reading, and it varies from article. I've been reading that people are just bringing this up. He was resigning regardless at the end of the year.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
What are you supposed to say
That
right
came
now?
out right now.
That it came out. It came out after he announced that he was leaving the club.
Okay.
That it was for the rest of the year. Which
So
in
he's
my-
technically Woodward is not. He is still in charge until the end of the year this year.
So-
he was not immediately thrown out.
He was not immediately thrown out, which then,
which I think's a little
Use the
questionable.
word resign.
which then to my point,
Resigns
Next
for
year.
a little bit.
but the point I want to stress about Man United is that Man United is, if you follow English football or if you don't, Man United is one of the most successful clubs in English football history.
Still the wealthiest club in the world, probably, right?
No, we're fourth.
Oh, really?
It's I won't get into it. It's like Barca just passed Real. It's Barca, Real,
Yes.
somebody then us.
Right.
But anyway, we're one of the most successful, one of the richest clubs in the world. But just because we're rich, people take that and don't forget our rich history. Where this club came from, it's a blue collar town coming from people that grew up working hard, supporting their local team. Yeah. I watched an interview yesterday that really struck home for me when you think about playing in Europe, and there's United fans from back in the 40s, and when you think of what happened in 1958, which is the Munich air disaster, RIP in my opinion. But what people don't take from that is they were traveling in Europe. They were playing in that form back then of what was the Champions League now. So European football European football is ingrained in United fans' lives. Yeah. And it's something where the ability to qualify, and I think it means more when you go from United being super successful to when Sir Alex took over, we were shit. And so that ability to come back and qualify for European football, it means something as a club. It means more as a fan, as a supporter. And I will say, us being terrible for the last 7 years, when United wins the Premier League here in a couple weeks, when United wins
had
the
to
Premier
throw
League,
it in there. Had to throw it in there.
But lack of a joke, when we next win the Premier League, it's going to mean so much more because we went through those downtimes, and the fact that we lose to a Burnley, we lose to a Sheffield. We're winning the league right now if we don't have 3 losses to teams that are in the bottom 6
who weren't a part of the Super League.
Yeah. So to me, it was an attack. It was an attack on our fans. It was an attack on football as a whole. And I hate to say this, but so much of this relates from American owners, and that's such another topic.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
It's such another topic. But for me as a Man United fan, I'm embarrassed. I'm very proud of our players. I'm very proud of Sir Alex. I'm very proud of everybody that surrounds Sir Alex or Man United as a football club, because they truly prevailed, made this happen to where it's not like the Super League's not going on. But I know that was a long little speech, but as you can tell, I'm super passionate about it.
Of course, absolutely. And kind of going, I think the way you just ended it on how you're feeling towards Man United is very similar to how I'm feeling towards Chelsea right now.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different because I give you all the credit in the world. You've been supporting United for 20 plus years. And as we all know, I am a newly found Chelsea fan. And I may not have the rich history, but I will admit I fell in love with the club. I enjoyed watching. I still do. I enjoy watching them play every weekend. Everything about them I was fully ingrained in. So it still definitely hits home. I will admit nowhere near probably the level of you.
When he's talking rich history, I think he means that when we were kids, Chelsea wasn't anything.
Yeah.
No. When he came onto United as a kid, they were in the Champions League. In the 50s, United were in the Champions League. In the 80s, United were in the Champions League. Now they're out of it when football's all this crazy shit, and United's thought to be the giant that could never be knocked down.
We're in second. We're about to qualify for the Champions League.
They get knocked down, bring in the club legend who resurrects them, and they're like fighting and scraping. It's like one of the greatest stories ever. And then all of that just might not even matter because you don't even need to qualify anymore. Yeah, that was very well said.
You gotta cut yourself slack too, as you're a football fan.
Yeah.
Like you're not coming into this fresh. Like you didn't understand the tradition.
So from the Chelsea side of things, a lot of people are pointing their finger at Abramovich, who is our owner. He is the billionaire. He has all the money. But I think there's a little bit deeper snake in the grass at Chelsea, and I think it is Bruce Buck. He is the chairman, and he is the American with all of the money. And he was pretty much, and once again, I keep saying this, take all of this with a grain of salt. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know anything. But pretty much what I've read is they're saying that Abramovich was blindsided, and Bruce Buck was the one who was in those meetings for the Super League. He was the one signing off on everything, and he was kind of the spear of it all. And very similar to how United was presented with it was very similar to Chelsea. Bruce Buck got the entire team together, made the announcement, and what the one article that I read about it, it pretty much said that it was silent. It was very awkward. Not much was said,
What do you
and
say?
he kind of walked away.
Yeah, what can you respond?
And I think Tuchel, I've been very hesitant with him of recent. I don't know if he's our future and all that stuff, and that's going on with our team now. But like you said before, all these managers have nothing. They have no idea what's going on. They were blindsided by it, and his response was very hands off. He was saying that we didn't really know much, and they need to focus on the games in hand. As a newly Chelsea supporter, I truly believe, for me to almost feel good again about Chelsea, I think Bruce Buck needs to go. I think he needs to resign. I think United made a really good statement with having Ed Woodward resign as well. I don't think it is needed in the game of football, and I think everyone a part of it should have major consequences in it, and that does not go away for Chelsea, even though I'm a supporter.
PR and perception, for sure, it helps United a bunch to get just a United's in the Super League. We announced we're gone. Oh, and Ed get out right now. Like that looks great.
You really want to know what my thought is?
But it's the Glazers, right?
My thought is it's the Glazers being like, Woodward's gone. United fans, we got to win.
Yeah.
And it's just their way of saying, at least you have something to be happy about. Because I mean,
but it's
kind of
smart
listened
to you got to get rid of someone.
Absolutely.
He's like, you got to get rid of someone.
Absolutely.
Get rid of this Buck guy.
Yeah.
Like it probably needs to
Absolutely.
happen.
And that's not. And once again,
Whether
that's not
he's
even
the
me
only
from
guilty party, whether that's
exactly. It's
like,
not even Chelsea I'm talking
You can't
about.
trust
I think
them anymore.
bullshit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
It's kind of a thing that happens.
I think every single club that was in the Super League, someone needs to be fired. Like someone needs to be
won't solve the
resigned.
problem,
someone
but it just
needs to
shows
go.
that
I know
they're,
it. I know it's never going to solve the
just
problem.
shows that
but there has to just be
acknowledging
The punishment thing's been wild because everything you've heard's been like you have to point to these 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who really made these huge decisions or
$1 billion
whatever.
decisions.
Yeah, which billionaires make
What's
billionaire
new?
decisions. Exactly, that's fine. I get that. So why the when it comes to punishment, they all need to be punished. I don't know. They really, really, really messed up. Why would you punish the team and the fans by docking points? Why would you charge fines? Why would you charge transfer
Especially
bans?
they
But all that
No.
stuff would
None of that
all
happened,
that stuff would implicitly hurt the owners the most because that will hurt the financial.
I was gonna
the
say.
end, which is what will end up hurting that owner the most because it's clearly all they care about.
And how do you direct a fine or something to these 6 guys that allegedly maybe made these?
And
Nobody.
it'll be the story of life. It won't really hurt the rich guys that much.
here's $1
but
million
the
fine.
supporters
Let
and
me pay-
people that
Yeah.
love it will get the.
They got $1 million
benefits.
bucks in their pocket. They can just be like, here's my fine. Like,
Let me sell that last yacht I bought.
Even if it's $200 million, even if it's something fat,
Doesn't
they'll
matter.
make it up
Yeah.
next year.
Doesn't matter.
It won't be removed from the
No,
club.
like 15
The Glazers
minutes.
aren't getting removed for this.
no, absolutely not.
I think Tottenham is in a wild situation.
Yeah, lay it
the
on me.
weirdest of
We haven't
weird
even mentioned, and I'll
situations.
let you say it. We haven't even mentioned I think the big, almost bigger
just
than
wait,
the Super
don't even say
League.
it, don't
I'm
even
not
say
going
it.
to say
Don't
it.
even
Yeah,
say
let me. Can I just
No, not yet.
I want to finish Chelsea real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I just wanted to add is while this was going on and I found out that Chelsea was a part of this super team, it really hurt, really hit home, kind of like what Doze was saying. But one thing that I really enjoyed and I'm happy I'm a Chelsea fan because I saw this was the support outside of Stamford Bridge in our game recently. There was hundreds of Chelsea supporters out there chanting and boycotting the Super League. There were scenes. And
Absolutely.
we mentioned it before. Petr Cech, the video of him out there screaming
awesome.
with the fans.
Dude, that was awesome.
It was incredible for me, and it made me realize
Clearing
that.
him out to get the bus
corner.
in. Yeah, dude.
So that's all I wanted to say. I was very, very happy with the Chelsea supporters and the fans, the players, and Tuchel, and just fuck off ownership.
Same shit, dude. There were
What's
guys
going
today.
on down
there? Were
there,
guys
White
at the
Hart Lane?
stadium. Yeah,
What's
man.
going on down there, White Hart Lane, dude?
Tell you
Cheers,
what,
boys.
cheers to that. I'll drink to that.
You went from a European play to no European play now,
Undefeated
right?
in the Super League, baby. hang it in the rafters.
Give him a fucking trophy.
I think the
need
Tottenham situation, I woke up at like 7 a.m. on the East Coast, and I had a text in our group chat that was just like, Jose's gone. And I was like, whoa. And then it was like,
bomb just dropped.
oh,
This
hey,
dude's
by the
waking
way.
up at the Richmond 500 track.
Yeah, I was literally about
He's belly up at the Richmond 500 track.
I was headed to a NASCAR
Jose
race,
going.
like,
Super League.
reading these texts, and then there's a Super League, and Jose can't even comment on the Super League because he's not at the stadium. Like, it was the weirdest little phase of what I've ever seen go down, and I'm used to Spurs firing managers. It's pretty commonplace in this day and age.
It's gonna be like Levy doesn't really give a fuck.
Yeah, it's not like we didn't know Jose was going. It's absolutely mental that they got rid of him in the timing that they got rid of him.
It
That's
was
a whole-
Jose's fault for
Yeah,
this.
that's a whole nother conversation. The
Crazy big games coming up for you. All the
Wild.
Super League drama.
The Super League stuff I'll hit. The Tottenham was put in a position, I believe, by Daniel Levy, who is the chairman of the board of the ownership group ENIC, which is basically just a British ownership group between him and what's that
That he
guy's
probably
name?
owns.
Yeah, that he has a huge owner stake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pretty much all the money goes to him.
A lot of money, at least 50%. But he's running it and is actively involved. And a lot of the
How's he perceived as from a Tottenham fan?
It's wild. Most everyone will say Levy out all the time. Enoch out. You know, they've made it a business. Tottenham didn't used to be like a global superpower business, and they really kind of came in and just sunk
progressed
cash
over
in.
the last decade.
It's progressed with
Look at the stadium.
immense. Yeah, Levy's got plans with the NFL he wanted to bring in an NFL team in London. Like he wanted to house a team in London and have that be a weekly.
Yeah.
You know that.
So
this man-
money is on this man's mind.
Money's on this man's mind. So you have to take it all, again, grain of salt. You look at what he's done the last 10 years. There's been a lot of really positive things. He's sunk money in, but since then he's always just treated it like a business. And then he's made a lot of questionable football decisions based on his evaluation of what maybe said decisions were worth. So he's saying, not enough money, don't need them. Or we're losing at this point in the stage where we need to be hitting a certain percentage by our budget, at this point. So he's making these financial decisions that are directly reflecting the field. So I think at the same time that he's kind of built them in this top 6, whatever the hell you want to call it, of England.
Give me an example.
What?
Give me an example of something where they.
The Pochettino decision's the first one on my mind. This dude took Tottenham to the single farthest they've ever been in a European competition.
Southampton from the rafters.
Oh my God, that guy's my hero, bro. And
I
he's
love
gonna
him.
win it
I'm
with
in love with him,
PSG.
and now he's the PSG.
Exactly,
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
fine. No, I'm not worried about it.
Tottenham
I love
sacrificed this guy.
Tottenham sacrificed him because in the first 30% of 2020, they were in what was like 14th or 12th or something, which. Okay, 14th. And they'd played like 6 games after they'd just gone to the Champions League final.
Has that ever Tottenham Spurs have never been to the Champions League final, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
It was wild. That first off, that was the most ridiculous time I've ever been a Tottenham
Coach's
supporter.
reaction still gives me chills.
Unbelievable, dude. When he's just fist pumping in the corner, like
black on
tears
black.
rolling down his
Black on black.
face,
Oh,
dude. He's magic, bro. So that was wild. He fires him after this short decision on a season that, wasn't looking great at the beginning, but had just gone to unbelievable heights.
Kind of similar to Frank in a way that, like, if we fire someone, we're going to turn some shit around. Let's get it happening.
So he already had this preemptive decision with Jose, and they fired my favorite manager of all time, and within 24 hours hired the guy that I've hated with every fiber in my body.
Do you think it could have been a PR stunt?
No, I don't
Jose?
think. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you
I think
do you
Levy.
Levy was like, I'm gonna bring in this fucking crazy ass dude, and he's gonna get me a lot of media
No.
exposure.
No.
I think there had to be an
I
aspect.
know there's
about
probably
that.
no way, but I'm just
He was an available coach and probably one of the better ones.
The
Won
documentary.
titles.
The the documentary.
The
was
documentary.
electric.
he wanted more people to watch, bro.
You want to watch TV? You put Jose behind a camera.
I
Yeah.
bet you Levy has some money in Amazon.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
so that's who Levy is.
Ending that, the perception is weird. There's old heads in London, in North London, that are like, this is the best we've ever seen our club. Like, it's got, why would we get rid of them? But then everybody else is like, nah, fuck Levy. Get that guy out. So it's a weird dynamic. And, if we win something, like, there's something he has to show that he may get another
You
2
guys win
years.
this weekend.
I was gonna say now.
Yeah.
So do you? I know that you just said that a lot of people are Levy out. Do you actually see that happening?
No.
No, you
No.
think there's no way he's out. You think he's
I think,
regardless
like you guys,
of how much backlash he's about to get from this. you think-
somebody's got to get fired.
Yeah.
Somebody has to leave. Somebody
that's
has to
where
get
my
fired.
mindset's at. Is like,
But-
why not him?
But Tottenham fans, like, we feel bad, but we also kind of have an idea of who this guy is as a businessman. And it's like, I don't blame him. It's
Yeah.
like he saw that check and he was like, I'm not
All
going
right,
to
so
leave.
exactly how you said that. Soccer's for sure two sides now more than ever. You got the money, you got the checkbook, and you got the emotion, the
Yeah.
passion. That's kind of what's different about it than other sports, in my opinion. That's
Absolutely.
why West Ham can make the Champions League and
Yeah.
can change their club for the next 100 years if they win it.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. You kind of covered like the logistics, the supply chain of everything. Give me the emotional your side of it as just a diehard Spurs fan, because you are, as far as I know, one of the biggest Spurs fans, definitely this side of the river. And you wake up every morning at 6 if they're playing. Give me
I hate
a
it.
breakdown. You're just
Not
as pissed
just
as anyone
Spurs
I
fan,
know.
but
So
soccer
Dude,
fan.
I hate
definitely.
it. I
Kid knows
hate
his
it.
shit.
For how much time I spend just watching the sport, I don't have a good enough grasp on it, and
being
B,
humble.
and I'm
He's
making
being humble.
I'm losing
You
money.
see the paragraphs this kid sends me. He's being
I'm
humble.
losing money by spending money on Paramount Plus, ESPN
Oh,
Plus.
okay. Don't
All
go
right,
on that.
Don't
I'm
forget,
lo-
add gambling.
Whoa.
Add gambling.
And gambling. I'm
You're
losing
talking
money
about
on all
emotion of the
these
sport. You're
things.
bringing up the Champions League.
I'm losing
Him
money.
losing money.
I've not once made a penny on knowing anything about soccer for what I invest into it. So, but thank you. Yeah, Levy fan. No, I'm not a Levy fan. I think he's fucked. I think Tottenham, he's brought them to a great place. That's sweet. I think you get some guys in there that maybe have 2 cents of an idea on like tradition and history and like what the fans are actually, the Yids. They're like the really strong Jewish community when they first started in the late 1800s, and like they've always been known as the Yids and like just the Jewish club. And now he's like, running a business out of it, and it's not the People's Club anymore. So my perception from Manchester's a working class town
Absolutely,
where
yeah.
you grind in the steel mills
Pittsburgh.
and like yes, Pittsburgh,
It's
and
a great
then
example.
you catch a 2 o'clock Saturday game at
It's
at
all
the
you know.
Theater of
It's-
Dreams.
You grow up, it's all you know. It's what you
yeah.
look forward to every weekend.
So I don't think they have quite the same depth of that, but it's the same concept. Any of these
Absolutely.
clubs are the exact same way. Like they've been a club since 1890, and that I can tell you that there wasn't rich billionaires back then.
Yeah.
Like I'm Levy out. Okay.
So you want him out. You want him gone. You want him out of the club.
Yeah.
I think there's a consensus from
Okay,
all of
from
us.
all
Like,
of us,
we
yeah,
want
and
our
I-
owners
Yeah,
gone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think that he can't sit here and fund and be like a huge percentage, but he's the chairman.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can't own the club, but he was the conscious chairman who
Active.
owned the club, the active chairman who owned the club and made the decision to join this league. So he's not blameless,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
his little thing that he wrote to the fans, he wrote it personally or whatever.
So then
said
the Glazers did the same thing.
he regretted
Yeah.
the situation.
Yeah. And that's,
I don't think he did.
My favorite is
I don't think he did.
That's where I think the whole Abramovich thing is complete bullshit.
What place are we in? Yeah, put us in the
Yeah,
league.
dude, that's exactly what he
You
said.
think that Abramovich is going to have
Yeah.
decisions
No,
made
no,
about
no.
his club
Absolutely.
with $3.5 billion on the
So-
line, and
so
he's not going to know about it?
I'm kind of with that in a sense, but at the same time that like you can't go around someone's back with Abramovich, and that was my stance as well. But
Yeah.
I just heard this take that like the bigger the money is, the quieter people are. Like they're like they know that like if you leak that information, everything goes to shit and it's all gone. Like every day you spent planning for 3 years like is completely gone out the window. Like when like big hostile takeovers are like happening in companies and like big major Fortune 500s here, that's how they happen. Like big CEOs have no clue.
Yeah.
And that was stressed to me by my roommate, shout out Lawbacker. But
They made the business decisions.
Right.
That's it.
but with the Super League, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like to be able to completely say like I really had no idea. My initial reaction, same as yours, was there's no fucking way.
Yep.
But then like the more I thought about it, I said there's a chance. I don't believe that. I still think that Abramovich knew.
Yeah, you had to.
But there's a scenario in
That's definitely
which
a fair
case he
point.
does not,
That's a fair point for sure. Absolutely.
That
which
makes
is
me happy.
unfortunate.
What you say?
So that makes me happy. Hopefully, it didn't have anything to do with it, and I don't have to absolutely fucking hate the
I don't
guy.
trust any of them. They're all rats.
Oh,
He's not
absolutely. They are.
blameless.
They all are
Yeah,
rats.
They're all
rats.
fucking
All-
rats.
every owner's a fucking rat.
That's
Hey,
what all these.
leave Zhao Zhashing around.
That was
That's my owner.
one thing I wanted to say was, and I heard
Zhao
this
Zhixing.
from, I'm trying to remember it was Gary Neville. Gary Neville brought up a good point. Why the fuck was Manchester City involved?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
They're in Abu Dhabi. They're the richest owners out of any of those clubs,
So
and
They're
They weren't gonna-
personal.
they
They
weren't
had
gonna miss out.
no. Yeah, you're right. They probably weren't going to miss out. I thought that was very interesting. That
They
Gary
just wanted
Neville
to be
brought
the
that up.
coolest.
the people with the most money want more money than the rest of the people.
That's facts,
It's
though.
life.
Yeah.
Bro.
If you got a lot more money, you have the
You
ability
think
to make more
you're gonna
money.
let them get more rich than me?
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Okay, so I do want to get your perspective from a club looking into Super League of like how that made you guys feel. Like, are you like,
Represent the little guy.
are you
bro.
like, fuck off? Like, you guys, I don't want you back. Like, I kind of want to just see where you're at.
I hate it. It's okay. Now you say that, it makes me want to start a different spot. I was originally going to say such a poor taste in my mouth with just like how we were saying earlier, when like Newcastle's like, we would never do such a thing, like join the Super League. That is never in a thought in our club's mind and soul.
If Newcastle owner
We
saw
would-
them zeros, he's
Yeah.
fucking signing
Yeah,
immediately.
100%.
Literally
It's just
fucking
like-
quick.
It's just like I wish they would just comment like what their thought like process like their opinion of like those clubs leaving, like what it means to the sport, not like we would never and we're better than them are. It's like, bro, just
Everton did a good job
next
at that.
next question. Just eliminate that completely. That's like what do you say
Yeah.
about it?
Everton did a good job to where it was less about like what you're saying. It was more about just like
Less
the
about
passion
them,
of
more
our
about soccer,
fans.
yeah.
And they were the closest ones that actually had a
Yeah.
legitimate.
A shot at it.
Argument,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think all you guys have made pretty good points as far as like what the disappointing aspects of it like were about your club. Because from my point of view, it's just like when Southampton came into the league, I think they're pretty sure they finished 7th their first year and then got in to the Europa League the next year with someone from the Prem won the Champions League. So or the Europa League.
What
So-
year was it? Do you know?
it was either like 14, 15, or 16, but someone from the either a Prem team won the Europa League or Champions League. An extra spot was given. Southampton got to go play in the qualifier rounds of the Europa League.
Gotcha.
And those games were like against like a team from like the Ukraine and a team from like Norway. And we won and we made it to like the big round of 64 for Europa and like got knocked out. Those games were like the World Cup final to watch. Like every single game was like, this is going to take Southampton from being just another team that gets relegated, doesn't get relegated, no one has any idea if we are, to being like, if we win this game, then we're one step closer to being the most respected club in England. Like if you win this next game, then you're one step closer to getting out of the Europa League and into the Champions League.
So those games you take off work to watch. You don't miss them.
Against a team in Ukraine at 1:45 on a Tuesday, or no, like 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm trying to watch this game and not yell at work, because like those games mean more than anything that like Manchester United, like you have those games in the Europa League, like you played those games, but like when
Yeah.
you watch them, you were probably like, fuck this shit, like we should be in the Champions League, like
Yeah.
like they meant a lot to you, but like as a further down club, like those games would mean absolutely nothing now.
Absolutely nothing.
All that would matter was the Prem, and they would be set in stone with no ladder out, no rope to get from outside of 12th place and up.
Yeah.
You can't get from outside of 12th place and up.
It's
Without just stunting on everyone 1 year, getting European doing okay, getting someone to recognize you, scouting more players that you play against, signing them. Like the exposure that comes with it is limitless, and to take that away, it just the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Like there's no chance you're ever going to catch Manchester United if the Super League went through and there was no more Champions League. There's no way Southampton could ever catch Manchester United.
Yeah,
someone could
absolutely not.
always catch Manchester United 20 years, 50 years from now. Leicester City, if they would have played their cards right after winning that. Like they're still in a good. They're set for life. They're for generations. They're going to be in the Prem now, but like they now. I mean, if you would have said Leicester's going to be in the Prem, like in the top 10 in the Prem 5 years ago, every single year, we would have said no way. But because they do what they did, now they're in the Champions League. They're making $1 billion every year.
absolutely.
I just think to take that earning potential away would just make soccer really stagnant. So that's like,
I think a point to kind of play off of that, because I think you hit the nail on the head, and I absolutely love the fact we have Sean on here because he gives us that point of view. But it's like when you listen to I listened to Gary Neville yesterday talk about this, and the biggest thing that he says is it's not just these top 6 clubs, it's that English football in a whole needs like revitalizing.
absolutely.
Like these clubs, like your Southamptons, they still are always at a financial disadvantage.
Yeah.
And so there's rules that are like, and this is getting way too technical into it, but like there's rules that are being put into place. And it's like we were talking about yesterday, like Germany.
financial fair play.
Well, Germany currently has what they call it's the 50+1 rule.
So fans.
Well, the fans hold the majority of voting rights at the club. Teams that teams are not allowed to compete under the DFL or German FA if private investors hold more than 49% of stake.
And that's why we didn't see any German clubs.
So we
in
didn't
the
see a
Super
German
League.
club, but it's one of those things where it holds those owners.
Good context.
It holds those owners to a. I guess I'm trying to look for like a cap where they can only do so much, because what's true is like, I mean, obviously the fans are more than 50% of a club, but the fans are the most important, most important point of that.
Valid.
And so like you look at like a Southampton owner, like you look at a United owner, like say they have to answer to the fans own 51%. This is never happening.
No shot.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things. It's kind of the overarching thing that it's like this is an issue, but like this doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah, fan
absolutely
control
not.
in a sport. Like, wow, imagine in American sports.
I'll give you one,
already-
and it's
you've
the only
already
one.
messed
It's the
up.
only
Yeah.
one. It's the
Green Bay.
the Packers.
Yeah, Green Bay.
They do all right.
Really? I didn't know that.
But
Fan owned.
they're not majority owned, are they?
I'm not sure.
You can just own stock.
I think that you can
that
own
was-
stock.
Yeah, like
The cool what we were just hitting on, like I just looked up Leicester's Champions League campaign the year after they'd won the league. Like they topped their group with Porto, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, and took Sevilla 3-2 on aggregate, and were in the Champions League quarterfinals against Atletico Madrid.
yeah.
I didn't know who Leicester City were 3 years prior to this. They're playing
Exactly.
in the quarterfinals against, and that's
And
that ruined
because
it
of
all.
just that tournament alone, they'll never be forgotten. Like they'll never be. If they're relegated, it's in like 20 to 30 to 40.
Absolutely.
Like they have decades.
It financially
in the Prem.
secured
Right.
them. Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. And all of that would have been gone.
Dude.
Gone.
The rich would have been secure, and everyone else would have been more at risk.
And me and Doze were even talking about this. I guarantee you, 2 years, let's say the Super League happens. Let's say it goes down. The prices of every single club in the Super League skyrockets. And I guarantee you, 85% of them owners are fucking selling their clubs after 2 years. And then they're making double their amount of money and they're gone.
Signing the
And then
TV, signing the TV deals,
They're
and
signing them
taking
TV
the,
deals
taking the
and
payday.
they're saying peace. And then they don't give up. They don't care what happens afterwards.
So what happens when these 15 teams have their place locked in permanently into whatever the best league in Europe? Say a Tottenham, who I could 100% see doing this, they're locked in next year. It doesn't matter how they finish this year. They're in a literal rebuild for their whole club. So they're not spending the money on players. They're not spending the money on, talent and coaching staff to be able to do well in this league because they know they're going to collect that paycheck at the end of the day. So these maybe next 1 to 3 years don't matter. Yeah. There's a weird little drop off, I think, between those 15 teams that don't have any jeopardy. And that was another one of the huge issues. Like they may start to dwindle as a club and how much they're actually worth because they decided, wait, I don't need to spend that much money. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
I don't know. That one was tough. I'm over this, dude. The Super League. I've consumed it. I've swallowed it.
All right, we can. What time are we at? Because it definitely needed some addressing, and I want one point I want to make before we switch off of it. Okay, good. Is we kind of talked about this right before it happened. I think that there's no way. We've kind of covered everything. If before the Super League happened. If you would have went up to any one of us, this is an opinion, and said, we can get rid of UEFA from running the Champions League and put someone else in their place.
This is a great point by you.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
Honestly,
I don't care who it is.
No, it would depend for me.
I know it would depend.
Yeah, of course we'd have to see the rules and everything.
I know it depends.
To get away from UEFA,
but just to hear that, you'd be foaming at the mouth.
I'd be intrigued.
Yes,
sure.
I would want to read. I would want to know
at the mouth.
Go on.
No one could do that.
Yeah.
No one could replace UEFA unless they took their most valuable assets, their highest earning and most profitable generating teams, and took them from UEFA. That's what was attempted, a coup, that they took those teams away.
It was a coup.
Whether or not they would have kept in place the grandfathering in of these teams not having to compete and earn their spot like playoffs and just getting in, whether they keep that or not, I don't know. I get that they said that that's the way they wanted to run it, but there's no other way you get those teams in. And then otherwise to say, we're going to pay you $300 million a year off the rip because they're not going to leave UEFA. They're making a ton of money. Not as much as they want and think that they deserve, but they're not going to leave it for something. Yeah. It's too scary. So they want to say $300 million a year for 2 decades, 20 years. It's the only way it happens.
I agree with you. That's actually that's a great point.
I wish there were another way for it to happen, and I honestly think if it would have happened, then they would have changed the format.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it would have flown. But obviously, who knows how that would have happened? But
the thing that all these people have been saying is it's not what they were doing that was the biggest issue. It was how they approached it.
Oh, terrible!
And the way that they gave it out from a PR
But it's the only way that they get it.
Yes,
it's the only way. They have to do it in secrecy. If anyone hears it, then they leak it and they ruin it. They say, look what they're trying to build over here.
Yeah.
The rich as the rich get richer. It spoils it from day one. If they don't have every team ink to paper, it's the only way it can happen. And that argument pissed me off so much when I heard it the first time. I was like, it doesn't matter. Soccer's untainted. We don't do this shit. They were like, don't get mad at the Super League people. That was the point that was made to me. And I'm still mad at them. But I understand more of the perspective is that's the only way they were going to do it.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Maybe that's not how they wanted to do it. Maybe they like the way soccer's played either. But that's the only way they're going to take the power from UEFA.
I just think it's one of those where it just shows how little they know about the sport, because I'm with you at the fact that that's how
they thought they could pull that shit from us family.
I'm with you at the fact that that's how it could happen, but United's not going anywhere unless Sir Alex Ferguson probably knows about something. And the fact that it's you can try to secretly leave, but if you don't have the manager and the players on board, this was never going to happen. I fully believe in my heart that it's
just a power play.
That it was a power play. In my heart, I believe that it's the players that I know all over the world that grew up, your Marcus Rashfords, that grew up with absolutely nothing, with the dream of playing for Manchester United, the same guy that's donating meals every single week to the kids of Manchester. There's no way in hell.
Meek meals.
It's not about the minority, though. It's not about the Marcus Rashfords.
I'm saying...
I agree. You would hope that the love and the soccer is different and that they would not partake in that. But would they have a choice? If it was ink to paper and said, you can't play for your country, you can't play in the World Cup.
Not playing.
That's where you cross.
They're not playing.
They're leaving.
Christian Pulisic isn't playing for Chelsea.
They're leaving.
See ya.
He can't put the red, white, and
They're
blue
leaving.
on. I really do believe that.
To most players, that's the biggest honor you can have.
Yeah. It's club's cool. It's how you get paid.
Club's cool. It's how you get paid. Winning a World Cup is what makes you last forever.
That's you. Yeah.
Jaime Rodriguez.
I see it.
That'll
I
World
understand
Cup.
it. I understand your point.
I completely understand
Yeah.
your point.
I'm not taking their side. I'm just saying that's
I
what
No,
just-
it's a
happened.
great. No, it's a.
It's
he's a great
a
point.
fantastic point.
It goes back to UEFA is fucking corrupt.
Yes.
It's one of the most corrupt
It shows you
organizations in the fucking world.
everything
We
that
just
we
don't know
even
because it didn't
know.
get tested. But like,
It's
like
all
I said,
hanging by
I
a
still,
thread.
I still think right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's
Like,
all by a thread.
I still, I like to think, like I felt
It
I
could have
felt-
been something.
I felt powerless with the Bleacher Report Fox takeaway when we lost all the games. I was like, we're not going to be able to do shit about this. This is where it's going to go forever. And this, like, restored power. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel, like, legitimately better about the way the future of sports is going to be. But I feel like we were this close from being powerless again. Like how you say, like, if it would have went through, they would have left, blah, blah, blah. I think if it goes through and, like, the 20 teams come out and they agree and FIFA kicks them out and the Super League forms, I don't know if the players would leave. I hope they would, but, like...
It's always that aspect, and I had a good buddy text me this weekend when he was asking my opinion on it. He's like, when you see the coins start coming in, these players start seeing that they could go from like 200,000 a week, you might be able to make
Double it.
600, 700,000.
I was going to say that.
There's players that would. There's obviously players in the world that would jump at that, but my opinion is the majority of them.
I hope so, bro.
Yeah.
Dobes, when me and Dobes talked about this, not on the podcast, we were talking about the budget that some of these clubs were going to get being Super League clubs. They were going to buy everyone.
Yeah.
They had,
And then they
were
wanted
gonna
to
have
come play in the
stupid
Premier League
money.
again.
Yeah. You're
Like,
telling
you have
me
unlimited budget.
this man has billions of dollars now.
Come
and he's
play
buying
Sheffield
fucking
at home.
everyone. And, yeah.
Like, come play Sheffield at home. All you got Messi and Mbappe and Ronaldo on the same team.
R.I.P. Sheffield. They recently just been announced that they are officially getting relegated.
Mathematically.
Okay.
You hate those words.
So, putting the nail in the
You
coffin.
hear mathematically in the Prem, you're like,
Putting the nail in the coffin, I think we all hit it pretty well. We all are in agreement. Fuck the Super League. We are so happy that it didn't happen.
Fuck
the
facts.
support,
Super
the support of the
League.
fans,
done.
the support of the players, the support of the managers.
It's the greatest sport in the world.
Very awesome. We love football. Okay, I want to talk about the Premier League just a little bit. With it getting close to the end of the season, and with this Super League completely being gone now, we do have Champions League football to worry about.
Up for grabs.
And holy shit is the race for fourth place. The craziest fucking thing I've ever seen
Is
in my
it
entire
interesting?
life. It's very interesting.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
Shut
Is top four
Yeah,
close this
eat
year?
Shit.
God.
So, Chelsea and Brighton played yesterday, tied 0-0. Wasn't a great performance. I'm chalking it up to the Super League being in everyone's heads.
Probably
That's
one
what
of
I'm
the worst-
chalking it up to.
One of the worst games I've ever watched. Dude. It was awful.
Bad.
in the words of our host, Connor Santovri, I would have rather worked.
It was terrible.
So, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this top four race, especially with Hoover being here, because I think Tottenham is in the talks as it stands right now. Third place, Leicester. I'm going to go name
Skip us.
and point.
Skip us.
I will. You guys are fighting for the title. And
Don't even give
as
him that
much
satisfaction.
as much as I hate to give it to them, they're not mathematically out. That's all I'll say.
Second best team in England.
Not going to say
clear.
anything else. They're not mathematically
Did someone
out
say
yet.
math?
Okay, so Leicester City's at third with 56. Chelsea's at fourth with 55. West Ham at fifth with 55. Tottenham at sixth with 53. Seventh is Liverpool with 53. Everton's at eighth with 49. So basically, from third to seventh place is separated by 3 points. What the fuck?
Bonkers. That's
I-
bonkers.
What the fuck is all I have to say.
I go back and forth on this every single week.
I know.
It's
And
like
I just, and honestly, I don't think we have to go into predictions or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to bring it up that these last couple games in the Prem, with everything that's going on right now, are so important.
Is Spurs getting in? Are
Dude,
Spurs getting in?
I was getting
way.
ready to ask.
no way,
No
said
way,
just off
he
rip.
said. Bro,
Check me.
Ryan Mason took over from Jose.
Hey, they won. They won.
That's what I'm saying. He's
guys won.
29 years old. He's 29 years. He's 3 years older than us, and he's managing guys like Harry Kane. I mean, I don't know.
Who was in the academy with him
That's what I'm saying.
and our boys. they're homies.
And he's
Dude,
the captain of his
so
squad.
I'm huge in on Ryan Mason, to be honest.
That's
like
kinda cool.
I watched him when he was on the team, and like he
Solid
was
player.
He was just Harry Winks 2.0. And, like
100%.
could go forward with the ball a little
so
bit.
you hate him because you
Oh,
fucking hate Harry.
No,
Winks.
bro. He's a solid player.
No, but when he made Harry Winks the first sub today in a 1-1 draw with Southampton, I was like, the full circle, dude. It's like, this is just everything that I've ever
Ryan
watched.
Mason subbing in Ryan Mason.
God,
Hoover
dude.
was drunk by that point. He was so pissed off.
I watched them put up the board, and Harry Winks like full sprinted over because he's a wank and was just ready to
Shirt
go
tucked in.
Takes off Tanguy and Dumbele, one of the best players on the field on every field.
Yeah.
But he gets gassed by the 70s.
Hey, you
but
won 2-1.
Dude. So I saw 3 or 4 moments of flashes of Pochettino's just game plan.
Yeah.
Like there were like 2 or 3 different times where they picked their moment to high press and then everyone did. And once or twice it worked out. Once it didn't, but then 15 seconds later, Southampton gets up the field. There's a shape. There's like a real defined shape of what should have been a back line.
Holy shit.
So some
What's
really
going on in Tottenham?
Who did he start?
It was a decent
At back
lineup.
four.
Harry Kane's got his ankle thing. Bale
I got
Lucas, Sonny. That was just the rotating
Who's
3.
got it?
And Dumbele, Lo Celso, Hjorberg, Sanchez. No, not Sanchez.
That's what I was
Aurier.
wondering.
Region, Dyer, Aldi, and
Aurier.
Aurier.
Wait,
Yeah.
who?
Aurier.
Aurier.
Alderweireld.
Oh,
It's Aldi.
I was like,
Still,
I was okay with the lineup. I thought the lineup
So-
was good.
So you don't think you're finishing top 4?
I think they're in just too fragile of a state being a game back that I think top 4 is, if they keep winning games, it's realistic.
what about your next 5 games?
They've got really easy games.
I was going to say, your strength of
Less-
I wouldn't
schedule-
necessarily say Southampton was like a huge test and it was a super
we're not in
shaky
good form.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're about to just flow in with some Barca 2011 tiki-taka. Like, that's not what's going to happen. But I do think there might be just like a little bit more of a shit given by
Right.
some of these guys. I think, everyone said it wasn't Jose. Jose was, I think there were some key figures on his staff who some of the players didn't like, and Jose probably didn't do them any favors either.
Yeah.
So just weird decisions that he made kind of slowly wore on the guys. And I think Ryan Mason came in like best case positive, like, let's just run and have fun, like
Yeah.
the 12th grade coach that you want to, come in and
We're good players. Let's
Yeah,
go ball.
so
So,
there's
so
no reason.
clearly you don't think he's the answer.
I think
long term.
that's
you don't know what he is.
How can you
really.
tell
True.
this 29-year-old
Well, where I
dude?
was going to go with it
Yeah.
is who do you want
I-
Tottenham to bring in?
I think Ryan Mason has a real identity as to what the team should look like as a club on the pitch, and I think that's massive. I think he's
Okay.
going to take who was the United guy that literally Michael Carrick played for a really long time and then
And
would come
was-
off the
yeah.
field and just put on his
Carrick did it, and then Giggs has done it as well.
Giggs, yeah, I
Giggs
think-
did it
I don't
Giggs was
think-
actually the interim manager and like literally was
Awesome.
still on the team,
subbing himself in. Yeah. I think Ryan Mason deserves to be on that touchline. Whether or not it's next to Julian Nagelsmann or
Yeah.
someone who can build a project.
The new generation is definitely worth giving a chance,
Yeah.
like a time to, because the identity of soccer has shifted
Yeah.
so much last 5 years.
So
and
do
the
you-
old balls are just
It's hard for me to see Daniel Levy giving this kid the keys to the Lambo.
I was
and
gonna
saying,
say-
well, who do
Yeah.
you want for transfers? And
I was going to say, do you see him to the end of the year and then your guys are finding a replacement?
Daniel Levy's gonna shell out some more cash.
And who
for the
do you
guy.
want?
I've seen stuff that Nagelsmann's. If we could slide him from Bayern, which doesn't make any sense at all.
wait.
Not Bayern.
Red Bull,
Red Bull.
Leipzig.
He's been rumored to take over for Joachim Low, or not Low. Yeah, no,
No, it's not low. What's his name? I
Gus,
National coach?
because Hansi Flick.
Hansi Flick.
Because Joachim Low's leaving, so they're saying Hansi Flick's going to take the
Good
Germany
Germany
job.
job,
So they're
yeah.
saying Nagelsmann's going to take the Bayern job.
Damn, that'd be lit.
Wild, definitely. I love Germany. Don't even get me started on the Bundesliga. But
Big fan. Who's
if,
another hour.
Bundesliga?
there, if he gets, I don't know, Tottenham needs a guy that can put a project together. Like Jose came in with a really strong squad and still didn't feel that he had the
Played
players.
safe.
Yeah, so he brought in, Doherty and Hjorberg and maybe
love
some guys that filled
Hjorberg.
in.
No, just safe player.
Safe.
I like him.
The
And
safest.
if you needed something out of him,
like him.
to like
Reminds me of Jorginho.
to go
Yeah.
forward,
he's done.
Like
it.
an Asbilla.
Oh my God, no, but he's just better on the ball and can control the game more. But he literally forward passes, he just goes
He can't do
completely
it.
stupid and has no idea how to pull them off. But that's not his position. That's not the job that Jose
Yeah.
needed to play. Tottenham need a project manager, someone who has like world class experience that can pull players that they feel fit into the squad to make a system work.
They need a manager that can also
and Ancelotti.
attract players.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They need somebody that can like. I think Jose is somewhat of that manager, but I also think
I don't think
players
he is anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Unai Emery, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Players have that
my God, what
that
if you
negative
got-
connotation that will always go with Jose. Spurs need that guy that they can just that players want to come play for.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Levy's going to do that, but I think that in order for Tottenham to like continue going forward, that's the manager
what it's
they
got to
need.
be.
You know what they need? They need Poach. Like it's they
don't
need
even-
ironic,
they need a
isn't
It
Poach.
is crazy.
So
it is
ironic.
crazy.
Right, but here's what I'm going to ask you: short-term hoove, real quick. Saturday. Ryan Mason, the head coach, going for Spurs' first trophy.
Dude,
I just looked up the odds because I got a
13 years.
gambling buddy on. Spurs is plus 750.
it's probably in the state of Vegas where they should be. Like,
Unreal.
drop that by 50 because Joe Stone's caught a red card and isn't going to make it to the game.
Oh no.
Which is huge, but that doesn't matter for the rest of the field. No, I think that game's
clinic.
I think it's
Could
gonna
you
be a
imagine
clinic.
though?
They're gonna put on a
If,
clinic.
How can I say
Ryan Mason
wins.
2 games in is holding up a trophy
Dude,
for Tottenham.
They just got knocked out of the FA. They're going to completely shit
I was
on
gonna
you.
say it's another thing we can talk about is City no longer has the chance of winning the quad.
We got it.
The quad.
We got a hot take.
Quad.
Yeah,
takes.
they don't have a chance of winning the quad. They're officially
Fuck 'em.
out
They're gonna
of
win
the
everything
FA
else.
Cup. Thanks to the Blues. Let's go, boys.
The
All right.
super
hot
strong
takes, boys.
squad.
So now you guys know how it
River
is.
can go last.
We're all gonna take hot takes at the end of every episode. Does anyone else want to start it? Because I don't got mine.
I'll start. That's fine. Mine's not a hot take. I just want to kind of at the end of this to kind of sum this up. I mean, this has been for those listening, those watching. This has been like kind of a whirlwind of an episode. And from like a lifelong soccer fan, I just want to say that like I've grown up loving this game more than basically anything in my entire life. I've grown up with the Champions League. I've grown up with the Premier League. I've watched those European matches. I've listened to Sir Alex say that the top 4 nights of his life are Champions League finals. And it's one of those things where I just want to say, like, I'm so thankful that, like, we're still going to fucking have that. Because, like, for the first time in my life, it was like a flash that, like, my soccer experiences on the weekend are going to change.
Absolutely.
My midweek look into Wednesday and Thursday, like, Premier League or even fucking Europa League games is, like, it's going to change. And I just want to say that I'm thankful for, like, the soccer world
It
as
is
a whole.
scary.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's
a
one of
big
those things where it's
big
like,
dub.
it's a big dub to where, like, what we all banter about is going to stay what we all banter about.
Absolutely. The Mecca of Banter can still exist.
The football fans won. Like for the first time, that game where your team's in last wasn't just for a draft pick.
Yeah.
Like, we all saw the inside of that, like, oh my God, it's gonna be draft. It's gonna be a draft pick.
right.
So glad it didn't get American. It's why we enjoy it, because we see the other side of it so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. No, strong
take
agree
me.
with what Dope says.
Do you want your hot take?
Somebody else. I got one, but
All right, do it. You go.
fuck
You
it.
go, Hooves. What's your hot take?
2 years. You're with me on this one too. 2 years. Tanguy Ndombele is
Ndombele.
probably going to be playing for. This isn't my hot take. He's probably going to be playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona or somewhere reasonable. He's going to take the exact same route that Luka Modric did. Go to Real Madrid and become one of the best midfielders in the world.
Yeah, he's
That's-
easy.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that
I
a
like
lot.
that
I
hot
like
take.
that a lot.
That dude's built different.
They pick guys up that are like 22 years old and like are really good on like a 3rd division French or Czech team, and turns out like their talent scouts are great. They just have never had the ability to keep them. And Luka Modric wins a Ballon d'Or. Could have been us.
No, I mean Barcelona already they tried to get. Tango.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like this year for
Yeah.
like triple what Tottenham paid for him. I think that's a very real possibility.
He's so insane.
He's so sick.
Is he French?
Yeah, dude. He moves on the ball like the
That
only
France team.
brother, the only person that
He's-
I've seen move on the ball like that, Moussa Dembele.
Yeah, but I mean he's better. Like
Right.
he's got more sauce, bro.
Yeah, a
Um,
little bit flimsier, but dude was a stud.
he's sturdy.
He's a
though,
big boy.
bro.
Yeah, dude. He's
Like,
a stud.
He's
Don't
gonna
even get me
he'll put you in the
started.
dirt. All right, I'll do mine. Mine just kind of it also like references what we were talking about earlier, and I know I've already kind of said it, but I want it to be a going away piece that people understand that UEFA needs to learn that they're not like as secure. They're not the end all be all of our sport, and if they don't get things right and they don't keep in mind that money isn't the most important thing with our sport, then they're going to lose power eventually. Because apparently we can get some dubs.
They just learn the fans have the ability to control.
It saved them
sport.
this time. It can by God kill them next time
Mm-hmm.
if the next person doesn't try and come in with that bullshit way that they did this time.
People forget.
Yeah, and kind of my hot take, what I'll end it on is we didn't really get to talk about it as much as what you guys think, but I truly believe there's going to be point deductions for all 6 clubs in the near future. And that is my hot take. And I think it's going to be a lot more points than people think because
I think,
if you go back in history on some of the other point reductions,
out of their competitions.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be very interesting, some of these consequences that are about to come out.
I think transfer bans are pretty real. I think like really, really mean transfer bans. Yeah.
Honestly, that's for another time, but that would be kind of fire.
How's your academy?
That would be kind of
Tottenham has an academy?
Hey, it's not bad. You heard of that Harry King guy? He's all right. He's all right.
All right, and you guys know I always say it at the end. Please follow us on all social medias. We really appreciate it. Drop us a like, drop us a comment. We love interacting with you guys. So the more comments you have, the more.
Who? Thanks for coming, brother.
Hey,
yeah, who
round of applause for Who.
Fantastic.
Killed it, bro.
Fantastic. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, cheers, boys.